Welcome, Classics Dynasty League, and all of our other listeners out there, to another episode of the Down South Fantasy Football Podcast. Your host, as always, this is Haley. Gonna let you know right now, this is going to be a quick podcast. I am absolutely furious right now because I had to do some grocery shopping. Grocery stores are scientifically proven to be the worst places in the world. I am livid right now, just pretty much trying to get hammered, watch the WU game. Wasn't even going to do the podcast, but I know my viewers wanted to hear me, so I'm going to power through. Was in there for over a fucking hour looking for shit. People rude as fuck. Can't stand that place. Hope to never have to go back again. Doing it on a bum ankle. Can't play basketball. Very furious. But I know. Had to put a couple things out there this week. Especially had to get the official bet on the board. The double or nothing bet between myself and Daly for the rest of the year. Starting from last week. Starting from the official trade. James White and Julio Jones will have more fantasy football points than DJ David Johnson. He has David Johnson. I'm taking Julio and James White. I like my chances. I know that Sony Michel's going to come back, which will bring some production down for White. But Julio's going to go off. White's going to get his catches. David Johnson has a shitty quarterback. He's in a shitty offense, so I don't really give a shit about him. I think I'd go back to even with this bet, which is perfect for me because I already have 2 new bottles of Jameson anyway, which wouldn't have had to pay for, but I'll just keep them for myself and down the hatch it goes. So like I said, I'm going to go right back into what happened last week. I'm going to go through it quickly. I'm going to go through my projections quickly. I'm going to bid you adieu. Mountaineers are going to get their first W tonight. You got the Thursday night football game going on tonight. Should be a good one. Probably some bullshit college football game as well. My men's league team did win last night, bringing our record to 4-2. I didn't play much, as I mentioned. Had a bad ankle from last week. We have our last game of the regular season this coming Monday. So we'll see what happens there. But moving on, I got a loss last week. Believe Bell just destroyed me. Even if I played the right players, it would not have mattered at all. He had Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, he got his first touchdown, and I knew I was doomed. Then he goes and gets a second. Michael Thomas goes off. George Kittle against the Giants, even though the Giants somehow pulled out the W, because they're going to screw themselves over. They're going to get probably 4 to 5 wins now, which is going to put them in like the 8th slot picking in the draft, which nobody wants to be in that area. You want to be top 3 or just be at the end of the draft and be in Super Bowl contention. They're going to be neither. My side of the ball, you had Wentz going for 22, and that's it. Njoku having another disappointing game. AP, he's looking like an old running back right now. Kareem Hunt doesn't find the end zone. That hurt him. Really thought that Valdez-Scantling would have a bigger game. Instead, I got Robinson on the bench putting up a 30-pointer. And just not looking like a playoff team right now. Rusty, I'm not going to trade Kareem Hunt. And I'm willing to trade my first-round pick next year. Just throwing that out there. Next game, we got Built for the Future winning a close one against my guy Tucker, 158.7 to 147.82. We all know what that win is, who Built for the Future is thankful to for that win, and that is Zach Ertz putting up almost 50 with the 47.5. And in the late game, that just destroyed my guy Tucker. Again, losing in a late game as he did to me the other week. Built for the Future also had 21 from Matt Ryan, 23 from Gurley, 21 from Freeman. And he played the Jets defense, who had -3 against Matt Barkley and the Bills, who had an offensive lineman score a touchdown on them. That just shows how great the New York Jets are. To the other side of the ball, you got Leonard Fournette coming back for a nice 25.4. Kamara and Brown doing their thing, 24.2, 21.6. Nice showing from his defense, 14 points. Would have won most games this week. Kenny Golladay with a bounce-back game, getting almost 20 points. Built for the Future, just rolling right now. He's just got, he's got a stud at every position, and that's something that most teams in our league don't have right now. Third game we're going to talk about. I thought it was going to be a closer game. I thought it was going to go the other way, but E-Walking Dead with a blowout win over Johnny I Want to Score More. 159.26 to 113 even. You had a nice 34.4 from Chubb, 34.3 from Christian McCaffrey, 23.3 from OBJ, 29.6 from Eric Ebron. On the other side, you had 120-point performance, 23.7 from Ingram, then a lot of single digits up there from Calvin Ridley, Jack Doyle, and your kicker. Ebron, even though he's playing less snaps, he is finding the end zone at a crazy rate right now. It is insane, especially not being the number one tight end now that Jack Doyle's back. And then, Julian Edelman, he had a great game, almost got 20 points, but just too much from the E-Walking Dead. Even though he only got 3.9 from Golden Tate, I was expecting him to be more involved in the Eagles in his first game as an Eagle, but obviously Ernst is still the number one weapon there. Fourth game of the week, another blowout, 149.62 to 100.7. J-Way Bella over Silverback Nation, getting it started real early with Big Ben putting up 35.8 on that first Thursday night game. Then you got Melvin Gordon going for 25, Brandon Cooks 26.9. Great, solid performance throughout. On the other side, you had Indianapolis Colts, Andrew Luck getting 22.2 points. Kerryon Johnson, 22.9. Juju had the big first catch, 75 yards, touchdown. Didn't do much after that. 19.3 points, still awesome there, but just not enough scoring at all. This could come back to haunt him because it could be trending down for Silverback Nation in these last 3 weeks of the regular season coming up. And talk about a blowout. Staunch Moderates, 179.8. Shoot or stab, 96.7. Whew, that's a blowout if you've ever seen one. You see 4 30-point performances from Staunch Moderates. Mitch Trubisky, 36. Zeke Elliott, 33.7. David Johnson, 33.8. Aaron Jones, 30.7. On the other side of the ball, 2 great performances and then nothing else really. Drew Brees, 28.9. Julio Jones, 23.7. Disappointment from Austin Eckler, James White, Tyler Boyd. Even though A.J. Green wasn't out there, now that he's the number one, he's also seeing number one corners. So should be interesting to see what happens there. Also, a -2 from the Seahawks defense is not helping him at all. Went through it 3-2 in my predictions. Go figure. Over 100%, over 50% again. Don't think I could go over 100%. That would be interesting. Wasn't the best week for Classics Dynasty League. Too many blowouts. Hopefully this isn't what we're going to see the rest of the season going into next year. We really only had one close game. People were dealing with bye weeks last week. We're almost done with that. Got a couple more coming up. But yeah, we got to see closer games, or this stuff could really get ugly quickly, turning into maybe top 3 or 4 teams and the rest of the teams not doing much. Maybe we do bring in another 2 teams next year. Maybe there's a couple other suggestions we have for making it to the playoffs. We'll see when the voting comes and what happens. Until then, moving on to our predictions for this Week 11. My guy Tucker going up against Johnny I Want to Score More. Early predictions have my guy Tucker leading the way in this one. You got Phil going up against the Broncos, which Broncos defense hasn't been great, but in the same division. You got Kamara going up against the Eagles, pretty good defense there. Fournette going up against the Steelers, who have been playing better defense. Antonio Brown against the Jags. Jags defense has been pretty shit lately. Stephon Diggs still hasn't done too much. Kenny Galladay against the Panthers. I mean, Panthers couldn't do anything in Pittsburgh last week, so maybe they just can't play away from home, which is good for Galladay. O.J. Howard against the Giants. We all know what that means. You got the Giants giving up the most points other than Tampa Bay, 2 tight ends. And then on the other side of the ball, you got a Thursday night game with Rodgers playing tonight against the Seahawks. Not a terrible matchup. Saquon, great matchup against the Bucks. Although you do have JPP in a revenge game. Cook against the Bears, not great. Ingram against the Eagles, not great. Hopkins against the Redskins, okay matchup. Ridley against the Cowboys, okay matchup. Jack Doyle, I think he has a nice bounce back week here. Also, both teams dealing with some buys. You have Edelman and Hogan on the one side for Johnny I Want to Score More. You got Elijah McGuire and Quincy Enunwa on my guy Tucker's side. I don't think there's going to be any lineup changes from these 2 teams. Seems like they got the right guys in there on both sides. Looking at this, I see Saquon getting over his 17 projection. I see Ridley going over that 10 points. I see Doyle going over that 9. OBJ could get over that 12. I'm going to go upset alert here. Why not? Johnny I Want to Score More over my guy Tucker. Put it on the board. Put it in the books. Next game, J-Way Bella versus E-Walking Dead. Somehow E-Walking Dead still has buys to deal with. He's got Brady, Chubb, New England defense, Kenny Sills, and Rob Gronkowski on bye. On the other side, you got Isaiah Crowell, Antonio Callaway, and Zay Jones. So pretty much water trash is on bye, so that's fine. Go to the E-Walking Dead. He's going to go with our guy Eli Manning against the Buccaneers, and should be interesting what happens in the running back situation since Wayne Gallman is his only other running back available. See if he picks somebody else up. You got McCaffrey, who should do fine. Odell should do fine. Deshaun, he should do fine against the Giants. He should get a big game, but he's too much of a home run or strikeout player. Golden Tate, you don't know if he's going to be worked into the offense a little more. And then on the other side of the ball, you got Big Ben against the Jags. It's at the Jags, so not great, but you could see Cousins plugged in there, but he's also going against the Bears, which wouldn't be a great matchup. So interesting to see what will happen there. Melvin Gordon, fine. Derrick Henry getting in there against the Colts. Colts defense is better than people think. Marlon Mack against the Titans. Titans defense is pretty decent as well. You got Thielen, who's got that true questionable tag. Been limited in practice all week. Cooks against the Chiefs. Chiefs defense is better than what people think. Kelsey against the Rams. That's fine. I got to go J-Way Bella here. I just don't know who E-Walking Dead is really going to plug in Obviously you're going Eli for Brady. He's got to pick somebody up. There's really not many running backs out there, so don't know what that's going to look like. And then, plugging in a defense and puts his kicker back in. It's still not going to make up for the buys. J-Way Bella, lock it up. Shooter Stab, Silverback Nation. You got buys for Shooter Stab, James White, LaShawn McCoy, Robbie Anderson. On the other side, you got Kenyon Drake, and that's it. So, Silverback Nation, you got Andy Luck. Against the Titans, I don't know. I'd be tempted to play Goff against the Chiefs there, especially now that the game is back in the States and no longer in fucking Mexico. Joho against the Vikings, not great. Kerryon Johnson against the Panthers, that's okay. Keenan Allen, that's fine. Juju, he'll do fine. Jimmy Graham, he's a little banged up. He'll probably go to T.Y. Hilton against the Titans. That should be interesting. As I mentioned, Titans cornerbacks are good. They're not great, so he could easily get a deep ball, or he's turned into a little bit more of a possession receiver this year, but you don't know what can happen week to week. You got Drew Brees against the Eagles or Cam Newton against the Lions. I know Cam Newton had a bad week last week, but the Lions defense is worse than the Saints, and with the Saints, there's always the risk of Taysom Hill getting in there in the red zone, as well as them running the ball with Ingram, where when the Panthers get in the red zone and they get inside the 5, they're more likely to run it with Cam than one of their running backs. Probably going to plug in, I guess, Philip Lindsay in that second running back role, which is fine. Tyler Boyd, as I mentioned, playing that number 1 receiver. He's a great number 2, but as a number 1, you don't know. Ravens, tough defense. Julio, he'll be fine. Robert Woods, he'll do good in his role. Trey Burton against the Vikings is going to do okay. I got Shooter Stab over Silverback Nation here. Put it on the board, lock it up, do whatever you want to do with it. Fourth game of the week, Staunch Moderates versus Bo-Leave and Bell. The buys. Bo-Leave and Bell has Le'Veon Bell out for the entire year. Should be interesting. Hasn't hurt him much yet, which is surprising. Would have hurt most other teams. You also got Duke Johnson, Sony Michel, George Kittle on buys. The other side, you got Marquise Goodwin, Jarvis Landry, and a kicker on buy. So Staunch Moderates, you got Deshaun Watson. He'll be fine against the Redskins. Their defense has been pretty bad of lately, even though they started very well. Zeke against the Falcons, good matchup. David Johnson against the Raiders, good matchup. Aaron Jones against the Seahawks, fine matchup. Willie Snead, possession guy. I don't really think he finds the end zone too much. Sammy Watkins, he's a pretty true questionable against the Rams on Monday night. You like the Monday night game, but do you take a chance and roll the dice with one of the Williams brothers on the Chargers? We'll see. Kyle Rudolph, as I've mentioned plenty of times, he needs to fall into the end zone to be relevant. On the other side, Mahomes against the Rams is fine. Telvin Coleman against the Cowboys, not great. Joe Mixon, a little banged up against the Ravens, not great. Corey Davis against the Colts, that's okay. Tyreek Hill against the Rams, that's fine. Michael Thomas against the Eagles, that's fine. Vance McDonald, don't love him. I'm going to go a little upset alert here. I'm going to go Staunch Moderates. I think he takes this one. Don't think that Believe in Bell has the best matchups for his players. I don't like a lot of players on Staunch Moderates starting. I think Zeke, Watson, and Johnson could carry him again. Tyreek Hill has been a very boomer bust. Tevin Coleman, Joe Mixon, they just have very, very bad matchups right now. I know you also get a kicker plugged in for Believe in Bell with these current projections, but upset alert, Staunch Moderates over Believe in Bell, lock it up. And the final game to review for this upcoming Week 11. Built for the future against right hand of destruction. Buys for myself, we got David Njoku, Josh Gordon, Buffalo Bills defense. And on the other side, you got Matt Breida, which who cares about that? Matt Ryan against the Cowboys or Russell Wilson against the Packers. James Conner or Todd Gurley or Tariq Cohen or Alex Collins or Lamar Miller. Then you got Devontae Adams, you got Amari Cooper, you have Mike Evans, you got Alshon Jeffrey, and you got Tyler Lockett. Then you got Greg Olsen, you got Zach Ertz. On my side, you got Carson Wentz getting the start for me against the Saints. Love the matchup. Kareem Hunt against the Rams. I like his receiving in that matchup, his actual rushing, even though he's been rushing the ball very well. Going to be tough against that Rams defense. AP against the Texans, not great. Don't really have a better option there. Emmanuel Sanders coming back. Like him against the Chargers, even though it's not a great matchup. You got Sterling Shepard or possibly A-Rob. And then you got Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I think he has a bigger game tonight. Tight end, we'll see what happens. And you know who I'm going with. The heavy underdog. The little engine that could. Trying to find his way into the playoffs any way he can in these last 3 weeks. Right hand of destruction. Getting the upset victory over Built for the Future. That's all I've got for today. I'm pretty sure almost none of my hot takes have actually been accurate for the entire 10 weeks, or 9 podcasts that I've done. So I don't even know if it's worth going out there anymore, but I'll give you a rest of the season one. Giants end up 5-11 and ruin their hopes of getting a top-notch player, and they will also move down in the draft to acquire more picks because they need so much. Other than that, we have the Packers-Seahawks tonight. We got WVU against Monmouth tonight. There's probably some garbage college game on if you want to watch that. But until that happens, and until next week, good luck, everyone, other than Built for the Future. Have a great evening tonight, and as always, we will see you next week.